Did you know that your instinct to try and save someone during a seizure can actually harm that person if you don't know exactly what to do? Recently, Brazil stopped to watch scenes of panic. Someone falls, their body locks up, they start seizing, their eyes roll back, and all around, desperation makes many people freeze up and not help the person, which is also a mistake that can cost that person dearly. If you saw right now, a child, your father, a friend, or an acquaintance falling in front of you, like what happened with Henry, would you know exactly what to do? Or would you freeze up? A lot of people think they know. Oh, I know. You have to hold their tongue. You have to pull it out. You have to give the person water. You have to hold their arms. No, today I'm going to debunk all of those myths. Nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Saulo Nader, a neurologist, and in this video, I'm going to give you a complete lesson on the proper first aid for someone having a seizure. First, I'm going to explain what happens inside the brain, right? Why the person foams at the mouth, and most importantly, how you can be the hero who protects and not the villain who accidentally hurts them. To understand what to do, you need to understand what is happening inside the brain. Imagine the brain as a symphony orchestra, okay? Every neuron, every little cell is a musician playing their part. In a generalized tonic-clonic seizure, which is the kind we saw Henry have, this type, it's as if suddenly all the musicians in this orchestra decided to play the same note and the loudest one at the same time, screaming. Electrically speaking, it's like an electrical storm, creating a generalized short circuit in the brain. Imagine the brain has electricity as if it were plugged into an outlet. When a short circuit happens and the brain's voltage drops, it shuts down. The person loses consciousness, they lose the ability to control their movements, hence the shaking, and they lose the ability to control their sphincters, which is why some people also urinate in their clothes. That's why, the body stiffens, which is the tonic phase, and then it starts to thrash around, which is the clonic phase. Often they lose urine, as I said, and foam comes out of the mouth. It's not a spirit leaving, it's not a lack of God, it's pure uncontrolled electricity. And here's a fact that few people know. A seizure, look at this, it uses an absurd amount of energy. The muscles contract so much and in such an intense way that it's very common for those who go through a seizure to feel tremendous pain throughout the body's muscles for days. And when the crisis ends, folks, there's what we call the post-ictal state. The person doesn't wake up, ready, cool, talking, normal. Remember that the brain shut down and it's restarting. This restarting process is slow. The person becomes spacey, confused, disoriented, and they gradually return to normal within minutes, or it can even take hours, the whole day for them to return to normal. Now, let's talk about error number one, which we see a lot in movies, soap operas, and even reality shows. The whole tongue thing, right? There's an urban legend that the person will swallow their tongue and suffocate to death. Look, anatomically, rest assured, that's impossible, okay? The tongue is attached to the back of the mouth. It doesn't come loose. It doesn't go down the throat enough for that to happen, to choke the person. What happens is that with muscle relaxation, it can kind of fall back, and that can cause noisy breathing, right? A snoring sound when breathing. Oh, doctor, but I saw someone putting their hand inside the mouth to pull the tongue. Do you know what can happen if you put your finger in the mouth of someone having a seizure? The human jaw is one of the strongest muscles in the body. During the episode, the bite has an extraordinary force. If you put your finger in there, you could get your finger cut, get hurt badly. Or another thing, right? You could break the person's teeth and then those pieces go to the lungs, causing, well, a much bigger problem. So trying to help the person by pulling their tongue is the fastest way to turn a seizure into a major emergency problem into a huge tragedy. Never put a finger, spoon, or any other object in the mouth to try and pull the tongue. Okay, doctor, I understand what not to do, but okay, the person is there struggling, so I don't do anything. Let's go then. Take note of these steps, the golden protocol for what you're gonna do, and you'll help this person a lot. Step number one, stay calm. It's hard to say that because for those who witness a horrible scene, a shocking, striking scene, that's why many people freeze from shock. But look, most seizures don't put the brain at risk. And you have to be calm so you can follow these steps and be able to help the person. So step number 1, take a deep breath, stay calm. Man, a seizure is happening here. Right here next to me, I'm gonna help this person. Step 2, glance at the clock, try to time it. The first thing isn't to touch the person, it's to look at the clock. It seems like a cold attitude, but it's vital. Why? The vast majority of seizures, they don't last more than 5 minutes. Sometimes it even seems like an eternity for those witnessing the seizure, but you'll see it was just a few minutes. Now, if the seizure lasts for more than 5 to 10 minutes, this becomes a medical emergency. So step number 2, time the duration of the seizure. Cool. Step number 3, the first thing you're gonna do when putting your hands on the person is lay them on their side. Let's imagine the seizure started with them in a seated position. You're gonna help them lie down and turn them on their side. If it's on the floor, which is most common, just turn them on their side. Why? Because it's common to have excess saliva, which is that foam that comes out during a seizure, sometimes even vomit, and on their side, it makes it drain out. If the person stays on their back, it can go into the lungs and cause, for example, an infection, aspiration pneumonia, or some other problem later. So turn the person on their side, head on the side, body on the side. They'll be struggling, they'll be contracting, and you'll just roll them over so they're on their side. Very well. Step 4, protect the head, arms, and legs as best as you can. So keep in mind that the person has no control over their muscle contractions. If they hit their head on the floor hard repeatedly, it can cause a traumatic brain injury. Arms and legs can get hurt. There could be, a dislocation, a sprain, something like that. So you can place a pillow if you have one nearby. You can take off your jacket, fold it, and put it under their head. Or gosh, if there's no clothing, nothing soft, use your own hands. Put your hands right under their head, to protect it from the ground. And use the other hand to try and protect one of the legs the best you can. Priority, of course, is protecting the head. Important, hey everyone, don't restrain them. What do I mean? Don't try to hug the person, squeeze them to make them stop shaking. No. Muscle strength is immense, and if you try to hold their arm, body, or legs, the force of the seizure can cause the person to twist a joint, dislocate it, or even suffer a fracture because of it. So you let the seizure happen, you protect the head and limbs as best as you can without restraining the contraction, without trying to stop the contraction. And a detail that nobody mentions, keep bystanders away. The person can often urinate or even have a bowel movement in the street during the seizure because they lose control of their sphincters. That's embarrassing. So protect, this person's dignity. Those who aren't helping, it's better to stay back. Okay, the seizure stopped, now what? Well, the person, they're gonna wake up confused, like I said. They won't really know where they are, sometimes not even their name. They might get a bit agitated, incoherent speech. Calm down, don't yell at the person, don't give them water, food, salt to put in their mouth, nothing in the mouth. They could choke, it could be bad. Just calm them down. Look, everything's okay. You just had a seizure. I'm so-and-so, I'm here with you. We're gonna wait for you to get better. The sound of your voice will calm the brain of that person who's rebooting. But doctor, when do I call? 911 for the ambulance? Not every seizure needs an ambulance. But if one of these situations below occurs, then it's worth it, yes, to call 911. If it's the person's very first seizure in their entire life, then it's different from someone who has epilepsy, which is the disease that causes seizures and is already being treated, already taking medication, so they already know why that happens. It's another thing when it's a first-time seizure and we don't know why. The reason, and there are several reasons that need to be ruled out in the emergency room. So if it's their first seizure ever, call emergency services. If the seizure lasts more than 5 to 10 minutes, remember what I said. Step 2, time it. Before you even touch the person, time it. So you need to have a sense of time. If the seizure starts to go over 5 minutes, emergency services will definitely be needed. If the person has a second seizure in a row on the same day, so let's say they had the seizure, right, woke up, they're doing a bit better, then shortly after they have another one, you definitely have to call emergency services. If she's pregnant, thinking about the issue of fetal protection, Yeah, another point, if they hit their head hard and it's bleeding, right, remember we protect the head specifically to prevent this, but sometimes it's already happened when you arrive and the head is bleeding. This will definitely require emergency care. Well, in all these cases, call 911 immediately and wait for help with the person. A seizure is one of the most intense scenes a human being can witness. Fear is natural, okay, but now you have something stronger than fear. You have the technique. Even in the hospital, it's very common, even for the healthcare team, for it to be something that causes a lot of commotion, right? So a person starts having a seizure inside, an emergency room bed. In the emergency room, in the hospital, it's very common for the nurses, the assistants, the clinicians to get all worked up. Everyone's desperate, rushing around, right? And the neuro. Usually they see it with detachment, right? Because we're more used to it and we have all the technique and knowledge behind, what's happening. So the neurologist is always that doctor who arrives and says, calm down, everyone calm down. Look, let's do this. Grab that, come on, help me turn them on their side, and so on. Get this medicine if needed. In other words, if for those in the healthcare field. It's already a striking, shocking scene. Imagine for you who is sometimes caught by surprise with a scene like this happening near you. So now you shouldn't put your hand in the mouth. You should protect the head and limbs. You know how to time it. You're ready to truly save a life and not just have the intention. If this knowledge was useful, I have a request. Share this video, in the family group, wherever you can, because everyone should know this. If you want to know more about epilepsy, which is the disease that causes recurring seizures, or about acute causes of seizures, or about focal seizures, which are smaller seizures, which could be, a blank stare, recurring deja vu, spots in the vision, and others, I'll leave links in the description for you to see videos where I talk about these topics. And tell me here in the comments, have you ever witnessed a seizure? What'd you feel at the time? I want to read your story here. Take care and see you next time.